So what's up? What are we doing? I don't even know what we're doing. Is this like an interview? Is it
No, it's to say hi.
Who hasn't seen? There's somebody here who hasn't seen the movie. It's got to be Adam, right?
Me, I hold my hands up. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it, but I will see it very, very soon.
Both parts.
You got to. I mean, after part one, I don't know how you don't at least click two because the car.
Yeah, I will tell you, and I'm going to try and do this with a. I'm going to try and do this in a spoiler-free fashion for Adam.
Oh, the car doesn't blow up.
What's that? Apart from on the poster, but without any spoilers, it's like that. When I watch that film, you watch it as a Back to the Future fan, and then you suddenly become completely on the edge of your seat about the personal journey of yourself that you go through during that thing.
There is a moment. It's funny. I forget the moment it twists because I'll be at a screening and it's the normal setup and here's what we're gonna do with the car and we're building the car and so on and so forth. And I forget every time. To tell you, Adam, there's a part in the movie where something wildly unexpected happens and it completely shifts everything we were doing and suddenly everything's focused on and it's like it blows up in every possible way. And it's all through text, which at the time I thought, well, this sucks. I got to put text on screen. But watching it again, it actually adds, that's what makes it work, is that you guys are getting to read the exact same texts I read as I read them, and everybody feels the same 2x4 to the face because it's like, what did he do? What? And I'll be at these screenings and I forget and I'm enjoying the ride and then I'm like, oh fuck yeah, that's what happens to this fucking movie. And then it's just a difficult, I'm pretty removed from it now, but dude, painful shit. Good movie, bad that it was my life.
I remember watching it. And just as it was starting and like you were going on about it, like saying like, oh, we're going to try and change the engine and try and get the world's fastest speed kind of thing. I was telling a friend about it who's like a massive car nut, but he's not like really into Back to the Future. So whenever I mention Back to the Future, I'm like, yeah. So, but he's a massive car nut. He does cars himself. So I was like, dude, watch this film. Like he does it up, he does all this. And then the minute it turned, I was like, how do I explain this to this guy who I've just told to watch it now? And he needs to watch it himself to actually see it.
No, it's a personal. It's funny. I most feedback I get are from women, strangely, who are like, my boyfriend made me do this. I don't care about Back to the Future. I don't care about cars.
Yeah.
And then they go, but oh my God, I was totally on the edge of my seat trying to see what the fuck was going to happen because it took a turn. And then two, obviously, is just like, oof. It's just so personal, like you need both parts, but I'm so glad that shit's over, and with the pandemic, the business is gone, like gone. So it's really like, it's just a chapter of my life that I have well documented and had a bunch of adventures, but yeah, I'm done. Like I'm pretty out of that wheelhouse. I mean, there'll be other gigs, but I have a feeling the pandemic is going to change, just how money is spent. I just think there's going to be a shift in what people value a little more. And I think trade shows are going to start shifting a little. And I think, there's just a whole bunch of ways the world's going to change that people aren't really ready for. And just expendable income. I can't tell you how many, $400 or $500 events I did just for birthday parties, just little things. And we did over 100 events a year. That shit's gone, dude. There's just I don't see that coming back for a long time, man. If you're a cake maker, you're still going to be in business. If you're the random $500 prop, yeah.
I think you could give people a better experience, though, Adam. I think all you need to do is buy the radiation suit, and then you can give people a better experience.
I have been in talks with prop makers to make that radiation suit. My first quote
was, and just say, wear this when you're in the car. It'll give you a better experience. It's not.
I want to do it. I'm ready to do it.
It's for your experience.
Yeah.
It's $2,000. The radiation suit that they want $2,000 to make that thing, and I'm like, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Like, I don't want to do the shitty Etsy ones that are just a guy in a suit. Like, I want it to look, that headpiece is a really interesting shaped headpiece that Marty wore. If you guys find anything, I'd love to know, because boy, it was
flip up thing.
Yeah, and the whole thing goes up, and he's got that. I don't even mind about that. I just want the bigness of that piece.
Yeah.
It makes it look cool. Everything else does not make it look cool.
Yeah.
So.
But I think, do you not think, like, I mean, it's your business, but do you not, like, I have this thing where, obviously, as you say, people are going to shift how they want to spend their money, etc. I just got this thing where we're all kind of sick of no socializing, and I know that it has to be managed in the right way. But I think there comes a certain point where people want to kind of get out and do something. Like, I was thinking, like, drive-ins and things that can allow the sense of a communal event and experience that, you know, with all the appropriate measures taken, people are going to find a way, because the bit that people aren't going to get into at the moment is, you know, the bit of where we all get to have a bit of fun, and we're all killing ourselves to have some fun and see people. So I wonder,
I don't doubt that that's going to come back, but to give you an example of what I would make money off of, like, I did a pottery trade show, right? Made thousands and thousands of dollars off these weird corporate events
right.
that were clearly, well, let's theme it, got some extra money, you know.
Yeah.
The problem I'm seeing now is, if I am these separate businesses and corporations and whole just genres of whatever a trade show would need, right? I'm now going to go, do we do the same thing? Let's say COVID's over, but do we do the exact same type of thing and then have the next virus come along and just wipe out all of our marketing for a year? Or do we set up more virtual things, and do we start doing more nuanced, and let's start try to avoid massive 100+ people things.
Yeah.
And I think we're just gonna, a smart business model would be, don't ever be beholden to some virus, right? That we have no control over, that all of a sudden is just gonna wipe out the entire industry. It wouldn't have been listen, if all meetings were done on Zoom, this wouldn't have been that big of a deal. If a lot of people work from home, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal. Like, I just think things are going to start to shift. There'll still be those events. There's still going to be sports and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I just have this feeling that it's going to be a long time. I've already made amends with it. I always ran my business like it was always going to be over anyway.
Yeah.
I just expected my car to explode at any second. So I saved everything. You know, so I'm fine. But I just looking forward. I don't know. You know, and we are kind of hitting the wall on nostalgia as far as, goodness gracious, how long can we celebrate the 80s? Like, I know that, you know what I mean? Like, at some point,
down his room there, I'm like, I reckon he's got a few years of enjoying the 80s, but
yeah, I mean, right, but the money is going to start shifting to the younger people. Like, that's just how life goes. You know, I remember when you guys were kids, the 50s were the biggest nostalgia in the world. You saw 50s on TV, Happy Days. It was constant, and it moved on a little bit. So, you know, I think because the internet and everything got splintered, the 80s has had, you know, a much longer legs for sure. But there still comes a point when, I mean, you know, the 50th anniversary of something is starting to get, Jesus Christ.
Well, you don't want to be turning up.
It was 40 years ago, man. Like, woo, it's a long time.
Yeah. True. It's funny.
Who knows?
Coming onto this call, I was thinking about, you know,
don't know what we're looking forward to, do we, when COVID, when the pandemic finishes? We don't know what we are looking forward to, because people keep saying, I can't wait till things get back to normal. I can't wait till things get back to normal. Things aren't going to be normal. Right. And not going to be normal for a long time. So Roy and I set up Scene Stealers. Probably picked the worst time.
The literal worst time.
No, I'm not accepting defeat on this one. I think we move with the times in whatever the hell form that takes.
We were doing well. We had people on shows.
I'm not seeing it as defeat at the moment, by the way.
Well, I'm curious as to, like, I saw the Comic-Con was going to do a virtual event. I'm curious as to see, you know, the one in San Diego this July. It's going to be all virtual. And I guess I'm curious as to see who thinks that's a good idea. Like, I had to watch my poor kids, 6 and 7, have to do, like, the last 2 months of school with these stupid fucking Zoom meetings. And I'm going to tell you what, they might as well played video games. There was nothing was gained from any of that. It was awful. And it depresses the fuck out of them because they have no frame of reference. They think, oh, this is what my life is like now. and they don't I mean, and Jesus, my kids aren't going back in the fall. I have a kid who, my son is immunocompromised. He's got huge breathing issues anyway. So this is like the ultimate worst idea of a virus. And so that means him and my daughter aren't going to go back to school until there's a vaccine. And that's certainly not going to be this year. So it's and what they're doing out here in Los Angeles and in California, they are going to start school again, but it's with these weird rules, and you can't play with a friend, and they'll give you a ball to bounce by yourself into. I'm like, dude, that's so fucking traumatizing to a 7-year-old. Like, I'd rather them just not go, and then we'll figure it out later.
Yeah, my wife teaches primary school, and she's back at the moment. She's been there today, teaching 7-year-olds, and they're like, there are only 7 or 8 kids turning up in the class. So I said, you're like a Victorian school mom suddenly. You're Clara Clayton because you have the smaller thing to deal with. Actually, for her, quietly, it's a bit like myself, not having to go into London every day. Much as I'm bored with looking at a screen, with this exception. I love not commuting at the moment. That's a bonus.
Yeah.
For her, she loves having 7 kids instead of 28. But I do kind of think, like, for me, being into my 40s now, I feel personally quite grateful knowing that the whole landscape has changed out there this year, for, like you say, for the long term. I got some travel under my belt, and I got to do this and I got to do that, and I don't care. I can't imagine being a teenager with the raging hormones going on during the middle of this and the whole deal. That sucks, really.
Imagine being single. Is anybody here single?
Nope.
Because I was talking about that with my wife when it first started. I'm like, can you fucking imagine being single right now? What the fuck would you do? Like,
also, like, you then realize, like, the person that you married or got together with, this is what it represents now. And if you both chose quite wisely, then you're okay. Right? If you didn't, you'd be like, no, I got to get out of this. So
I remember the first 2 or 3 weeks of the virus, of the quarantine, where I was looking at my friends and seeing these status updates, and they're losing their fucking minds. And I was like, man, I'm really glad I like my wife. Whew, thank God. Because we were having the most dude, I was having more. The first 2 months of this thing, dude, we were playing Animal Crossing nonstop. We were like having a blast, dude. And I've got all sorts of VR headset stuff, and I'm going all over. Couldn't have had more fun. I'm kind of itching right now because I need a routine and I need to get out, and I've been gaining weight, and I'm like, I got shit to do, and these kids never fucking leave. Like, they never leave. Like, oh my God, they never leave.
I'm the same. It's like, me and my wife we've just had, my child is 7 weeks old today. And we've been trying for 4 years, so we ended up having like an IVF baby. Okay. So when the virus came around, we were like, it was like 4 weeks before her due date. So it's like the anxiety was through the roof and everything. So when the child was finally here, I've had like 2 months paternity with him, which is great because I'm never going to get that time back, because over here you only get like 2 weeks paternity. So once your 2 weeks is off, you got to go back to work unless you take a massive pay cut, which you just can't really afford to do when you've got a baby. And so it's just been nice to have the 2 months, but I'm a bit like yourself. I just want to get into a routine now. I want to get used to going to work and having time with him and then getting ready for work. It's bizarre, but I actually miss it.
And I feel stupid because in December, I even did a bunch of entries and videos about this. I was so burnt out. The irony was I had a slow year in 2016 after 2015. It made sense. It was the end of that big 30th anniversary. I figured it was just going to be a 30 events a year, that kind of stuff, which is still a lot of events to do with a car. And then 2017 came along, and I decided to do the DeLorean thing. Happened to have like 80 events that year. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, I can't. 2019, we had 110. And it was so crazy. And of course, since the engine swap, it's a constant nightmare. Like, it's never been good. It's never been okay. It's always something. And even if it isn't blowing up, it just isn't moving. And so by the end of December, I just kind of was like, dude, I might have to I might have to quit. I miss my family. I'm sick of being on the road. I'm tired of doing this. I don't have any passion for it anymore. Fastest DeLorean burned me the fuck out. And I wasn't in Back to the Future, so hanging out with all those people it just makes me feel like an imposter, right? Like, so
right.
There's a weird imposter syndrome constantly because I've done a lot of other shit that has nothing to do with a DeLorean. Yeah. So I get thrust into this weird spotlight where the spotlight is on me for all sorts of fucking reasons that I don't feel are necessary. So I was just burnt out. And then Kobe died, which fucking wrecked this town. Wrecked me. I've met him, having a daughter, the daughter being in the fuck. I was done. In February, I was done. And then the fucking pandemic hits, and it's like, you know what, man? This is a sign to just check out. It's time to just check out, watch movies with the kids, and just embrace the fact that, you know, you're alive, you know. And unfortunately, my grandfather died of the virus in April. And so it becomes this whirlwind of dealing with the people that don't believe it's happening, dealing with being happy being home and feeling guilty about that. Meanwhile, everybody else can't even eat. You know, it's like, oh, fuck. So now I think I'm sure everybody's feeling the same way. I would like to get back to work doing something. You know, like I would like to have a focus in the morning. Because like I wake up and I'm like, I'll eat that. I'll just eat all that. Yeah. I'll take a couple edibles, see how the day goes. I'm
doing this a lot more, like Adam does. Right. I go philosophical on Facebook at 1 a.m, and Adam goes, I think Roy's head's hurting today. And I'm like, because there's a bit of release somewhere in the routine. Oh yeah, I'm doing it now.
Has to be. Yeah. Okay.
Roy's pissed again.
Pickling my liver over here.
Oh yeah, it was the other night when you were messaging, and I think I replied back at like 4:15 because that was when baby's feeding time was.
Yeah, you guys were starting again, and I'm just finishing, I think.
I love you guys.
Oh yeah, there's a bit. That went on.
Roy's feeling the love. This is like 4:04 in the morning. Roy's like, yeah, all right, Roy, yeah, cool.
Thanks, guys. Well, let's change the subject quite swiftly there. Adam and Contrast, I would like to just say thank you anyway, in any case, for doing this, because an interesting, like, I found your film on Amazon Prime.
How, by the way? How? I'm curious. How did you find it?
So last year, after people are interested in DeLoreans, last year they released 2 big features about DeLoreans, and one was Framing John DeLorean, which was the good film, and the other one was the John DeLorean, what was it called? Driven. And I went to see Framing John DeLorean at a cinema, and I was like, I never saw that Driven. So let's Drivel, as it's been subsequently.
I haven't seen it. Seen it.
Okay. So a couple of years ago, I got this thing out, and I found it on Amazon Prime, and I signed up for it. And then, of course, it's gonna link you to the next thing, and so it says Fastest DeLorean, and you go, it's a DeLorean, it's a feature film, it's a documentary. I know nothing about it. It's got the guy from Back in Time in it who has the cool golf course on the DeLorean.
That help. Jay will like that. And, I owe him a drink now.
Right, and when you said like you get a lot of interest from members of the opposite sex about this story, our story is we have a lazy Sunday. I throw a film on, my other half falls asleep, and I get to that thing, and she falls asleep. When she stirs, I'm very engaged with what's going on because I'm seeing not what I expected. Like you said, in a way, your film was enhanced in ways that you probably couldn't have imagined when you went into it, because you thought it's going to be a tale about this thing. Right. I think I'm going to say it's probably as compelling as you were hoping it would be for different reasons.
Yeah, that's right. When you hit finish on something, that was my takeaway, which was, man, this is actually way better than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Like this is way more intense and way more dramatic, and but boy, I wish it wasn't me.
Yeah, of course.
Like that was the sad part.
It's much easier for us to watch it and you experience it.
Well, and Jesus, even the ending and the ticket not being available. Not going to give away the ending, but kind of fuck you, Adam. Just go watch it. But the ticket not being made available, and me not knowing and Don's blind ass not being able to see the numbers, and we're all just.
You go from you watch this film, and it's so tense that you have to know what happens, and you're like, and you know, in a feature film. I know I wrote an Amazon. You said, oh, it'd be great if you could throw an Amazon review out there, and I invested in it because I thought I know people are going to see it and go, well, I don't know about this film, and maybe this guy's a bit hyped up about it, but actually, you know, you look at a Hollywood movie and you look at what they're trying to do in a big number, and they do not get you on the edge of your seat.
Right.
You do it the same way, and it has to do with empathy. And you create a very empathetic situation where you're there going, the guy needs a fucking ticket to see.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we've all he's got this you know, the time circuits fall off the thing if you drive it too fast, and this is all going on, and you go, he's got his whole investment in this piece of kit, and he's welling it because he's so you are very invested in seeing how that plays out and whether that was successful and so on, you know. And so when I had to wait a week to watch the sequel because I needed to be ready.
Yes.
For round 2 of the tense story and all the dramas and all the politics, the family politics and all this stuff. I waited 1 week and then I watched it, and there's a moment, again, other gravel, not to give things away, but there's a moment where you have some victory in that second film, and I just thought, thank fuck, like he's smiling, this guy, because
I was crying
earlier. So it's very cathartic. It's very cathartic than watching the second one.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I'm the first and longest running video blogger. I got no money for this. It's just a weird thing that I started 20 years ago and have never stopped. But what it did do for me is it conditioned me to be very self-aware, be very open, and fail hard openly.
Yeah.
Whereas most people will try to be like, let's just show it from this angle. Maybe you won't. And I failed so many times that I have no problem showing it. Like, oh, fuck it. I fucked everything up. And I think what works with Fastest DeLorean is I showed everything that made me look bad. I showed everything that made Kenny look bad. I just showed this is what really happened, man. And I know that there are certain people that say that movie shouldn't have even come out because of my brother, right? Like, even choosing to put it out was a choice I made to hurt him because it makes him look so bad. And I can't even argue with that because it was shelved for the entirety of that run. I took off the website. I said, okay, this went in a different direction. I'm going to hide all of it. And then I kept coming back to the organic moments that you can't fake, that I was like, this feels like a travesty to let this be hidden on a shelf somewhere. Because like can I give it away? But when the car doesn't start, are you fucking kidding me? The car didn't start at the starting line of the first race. And like the way that feels and how embarrassing it is and how everybody's making fun of you anyway, because you're in a DeLorean. Like that was so real. The first time I take my helmet off and you see that look in my eyes, oh my God, dude. Like I was clearly scared out of my fucking brain. So I think that's what I just said, man, I got to find a way to put this out and be as nice to Kenny as I can. And then in the second one, I mean, dude, he was here. He was coming. I don't know what happened. I still don't know why he decided to like not come out.
Do you think
sorry, you were going to say that.
Do you think, I had a thought actually, I'd love to ask you about this actually. Having invested 3 hours of going, like, I'm putting myself in the headspace of this guy and what he's going through, which is very experience, right? And with your brother, I thought there is an element here where this guy's a mechanic and he does what he does, and there's his world and that's his thing and his set of values and things he's interested in. And like you said, you happen to be the longest running blogger out there. What you are is you're very savvy with this, what goes on here. You're very, and I wonder if there was a part of that guy, your brother Kenny's mindset, where he was like, he was quite, maybe was a bit intimidated, even though I completely, like you extended the olive branch way further than any rational person to give him the chance. But in his head, he was still like, if I don't get involved, then I was not a participant in this, and it's not me being part of that story. It's your interpretation, and maybe he's protecting himself there in that way.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what happened.
It's true, and I moved from Ohio to Los Angeles. So there's a group of people that just put me in a category of, oh, he's Hollywood. And so he's directing it. He's going to look like the good guy. He's going to look like the bad guy. Like I had that in my head the whole fucking time, which was what made it even worse. I'm like, oh, fuck, Kenny, you're actually now I have to be the good guy. And you like, what the fuck, man? Like, so I kept going, I wasn't going to show the fake dino. I wasn't going to show any of that. I was like, dude, just come out. I won't show any of this shit, dude. Come out. We can just pretend. And he just kept fucking up each step of the way. And I'm like, okay, dude, I have to tell what happened and why I had to replace you. Like, well, how am I supposed to not? So yeah, it got bad. And then yes, the second time, I really don't know. I think he had enough people around him saying that I was the bad guy, which is just bizarre because I don't know how I could have done anything differently other than not release the movie. Like, that's it. I don't know how else to have told that story where he looked like a good guy.
Yeah. But there was
if he told me fucking out.
Sorry, there's a part of that second film with Dom. You do the thing where you go, your body language, I can pick up, and you're kind of going, I think I did everything that was necessary, like to make the guy, and there's a moment as a viewer, and I think Daz would probably agree, having watched that, you're watching it going, he's right, like he really has. Sorry, I know that, Adam, I know this is a bit lost on you.
Yeah.
But it's almost like you watch it and think, well, actually, you have a lot of empathy once again with yourself because you go, no, he really does. Plus, this was your big project. There's money invested and the whole thing. So to not tell that story is a there are levels to which you look out for your brother, and there are levels to which you kind of go, actually, there's a business proposition going here, and it's a classic mixing family and business scenario that's going on there. That's going right.
Yeah. I think what got me the most in the second one was when, obviously, it hit home that obviously you had an accident. You can't, without giving too much away, something massive happens at the side of a freeway.
Right. Yeah.
And then
dude, let's just say fuck it.
It comes into light, and then
real before you keep talking, let me just say, because Adam's like, he has no fucking idea what's going on. You can say all the spoilers you want. I swear, the second Adam starts the movie, you forget. Like your brain starts to focus on the moment. I forget what happened watching it. So don't worry about spoilers. The car blows up on the side of the road. Go ahead, Daz.
You don't need to say
so yeah, the car blows up, and then obviously like it hits home, but your wife starts talking to you like you want to get rid of the car because obviously there's bigger things to worry about. In that moment, like how close did you come to like getting rid of the car? Was it a close thing? Did you think no, I'm not getting rid of the car? But
when she said that, I remember the tow truck coming back and she was looking at it, and she did look at me like, you're not gonna fix this. Like, come on, Adam. I know you do crazy shit, but you're not gonna make this run again. Like that was the initial thing. And I'm like, yeah, I got this. We're good. Then I had a couple drinks, and then we started talking, and then she actually started crying, and she said, I can't keep thinking you're gonna die every time you leave because your idiot brother built a bomb. Like, this is crazy. And all I knew was that the pressure for me to make it safe became way more because I would sell it. So my initial instinct to her saying that was, please let me try to make this safe. I have to figure out what happened, why it happened, and if I can do that, and I feel comfortable. I mean, I'm a father of 2 young children. I didn't even want to drag race it, let alone blow up in an accident. So it was just that immediate, just hang on, don't say it. Please don't say it out loud, because once you say it out loud, we're really in fucking trouble. But don't make an ultimatum yet. Just let me try. And then I figured it out. And I do feel okay now driving it. I don't think it's ever going to make it where it gets. I cannot believe I've never missed a gig. Yeah. I mean, it's been with tow trucks and it's been constant, but I'm just really anal about keeping my word. And so I've made all the gigs, but I don't feel like it's going to blow up anymore. And if it did, I know where the engine is. I know how to, you know what I mean? Like I feel good with the car.
Yeah.
I have a fire extinguisher with me. I know how it feels when it's not running. Like I know that car now, like better than I've ever known anything. But yes, to tell you the truth, if I hadn't gotten that started or could not figure out what caused the fire, which was 100% Kenny's fault, by the way, like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
What's the
I would have sold it, and I would. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. What's the piece of kit?
I'm sorry. What did you say?
Sorry, what was the piece of kit? It was the thing that he took the top off, right? It didn't fit into the.
Oh, the alternator.
The alternator.
Yeah, because didn't he take like a bit of the plastic off because you got a new one, and he was ringing up the part company, and he was like, "Don't take things apart, sir."
Dude, that was still one of the fucking. I wish I had recorded that call. It's like my biggest guilt because that phone call was the funniest shit. He was so annoyed with me because he thought I was some dumbass who was going to do this. And I had to pose it in a way, you know, I didn't want to say, hey, by the way, my car blew up. Was this the problem? I didn't want to like, I wanted to just say, hey, by the way, I wanted his, I didn't want him to know what the outcome was because if I told him what the outcome was, then he would have said, well, of course that was the problem. So I had to make it in a way like I was just coming up with this. Hey, can we take this casing off? Like the fuck you can't. And why would you do that? But yeah, that was a big issue. Clearly,
I did a TV ad once where we had to use the Hollywood sign, and we did not attend this shoot. But we had a team go in and film it, and they had to climb the fence. And the implication was, and I saw the editor that they put together. And I said, how did you do that, guys? And, you know, the little team crew, they said, well, we climbed the fence. And I said, can you do that? Did you trespass? Did you, like, I'm responsible as the producer doing this remotely. They said, yeah, and the police came by, but we got away before, and I thought, shit, okay, well, we got the footage, right? Then you go, right, we're going to put this out there. And I showed it to a guy I was working with, and he said, oh, that's great. Do you have permission for the copyright for the sign? And I said, copyright? Like, you know, it's a few years ago. So I go on the line to the guys who own the rights to the Hollywood sign, you know, and I'm looking, I've been to Hollywood on a tour, and I get my keyring out, and you go, yeah, it says Hollywood on the front, and when I flip the keyring over, it's got trademark on the back, and I should have known in reality that
you can't even show footage of the Hollywood sign in a movie without permission.
You couldn't shoot it and put it in a branded commercial to advertise a product without getting permission. Like I learned randomly the Vegas sign is out of copyright. There's a lady that designed the Vegas, the iconic sign, and she never took it out. So all these companies are making fortunes because they don't have to get permission from her estate to reproduce it in T-shirts. And so I'm having a conversation where I'm trying to get permission to get the sign and showing them the film and hoping that they didn't ask how we filmed it. But they asked for sufficient amount of money, but we got it. So
the next documentary I'm doing will be out this November. I had taken a video camera in 1995 into the locker room with the Bulls and got all this footage of Michael Jordan, and then sat on the court and recorded him in a fight with a fan audibly and that kind of shit. And I have all this amazing footage, and it sat in my closet for however many years. And I put something out 10 years ago, just a little 15-minute version, and it got big and went into the Washington Post, and all these people wrote about it. It's on. You can see it. It's never before seen. Meeting Michael documentary is basically what it is. But now comes the point where if I'm going to release this professionally, how the fuck do you get the rights to this footage? I mean, I know I shot it, but I did have a press pass at the time, but I was a press pass for radio. So I wasn't supposed to be doing what I was doing.
Yeah.
Then again, it was 25 years ago. Then again, it's also extremely loving towards Jordan and the NBA. There's nothing even remotely controversial about it.
Yeah.
So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot everything, put it all together, release it, and wait to see what happens.
Yeah.
And hope everybody realizes I don't want to make money off it. I just want to make a really good story of this event in my life. It's not just 15 minutes. I got a ton of footage. So, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen, man.
Was 95 before or after you went off to play baseball?
This is right when he came back. It was the year they won 70. and won the championship. So it was 95, 96 was the NBA season. That was the year they went 72-10 and won it all. But yeah, it was right after he had come back and he was trying to get back into the championship. So yeah, right before The Last Dance, basically.
Was that before Space Jam?
That was brilliant.
It was before Space Jam. Now I think they shot Space Jam that summer, and it came out in the summer of '96. Yeah, so
it's still a great film.
Yeah.
Did you get anybody else on your locker room footage?
Oh yeah, the whole team. Yeah, whole team. Oh yeah, Pippen, everything. I got great footage of Pippen on the bench looking at my camera. Like, it's cool. Go on YouTube. Type Adam Conquers Michael Jordan. It'll come up right. The little 15-minute version it's funny because I did a voiceover at the time. I had like 2 VCRs, and I had to hit play on one to record. And like I'm proud of how I put it all together. But I sound like 20 years, obviously younger. It's really yeah, and it's got a whole bunch of like copyrighted music because obviously I was just making it in my bedroom. So I just took all the CDs I could find that seemed to fit, and I just hit play on the CD. I had a little microphone, like it was crazy little setup. But yeah, it worked. No, the way it's going to start now is my kids are going to be going through the attic, and they're going to find, like, I got his towel. You know, I got all these little things, and they're going to find it, and I'm going to tell them the story. So it's going to be through there. That's another heartstring thing. Oh, look, it's my kids. How can you? Come on, dude. I'm just showing my kids. Show my kids how nice this was. Come on. So,
wow.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
So that's next. That's your next project, essentially.
That's November. Yeah, I'm just literally trying to lose weight to shoot it. And, the timing of COVID. There it is.
My lockdown diet started on Monday.
Dude, I have started so many diets the past fucking 10 weeks and just made it 2 days and then was like, fuck it, you know?
Yeah.
I just overeat constantly. I can't help it. What else is there to fucking do except for eat and drink? God damn.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I haven't even bothered trying to diet or anything because, like Daz, we had a baby as well on the day that we went into lockdown on the 23rd of March.
I can remember messaging you going, how was the hospital today with all the restrictions? What? I can remember texting you at the time and going, how was the hospital today with all the restrictions and everything?
Oh, we had to wear the masks and everything. We had the masks on, and because it was cesarean. And they were treating, they used my wife as a trial for somebody who, as if she had COVID. So it was just a trial. But so we've been like crazy busy. I mean, I've got a 17-year-old daughter, I've got a 3-year-old son, and a baby.
Whoops.
So,
Whoops.
Dude, that's a mistake. You can't even act like that was planned. How the fuck do you have a baby 14 years apart?
No, he was planned. He definitely was planned.
The 3-year-old was?
Yeah. I mean, they're not. Me daughter is with me ex-wife.
Different mothers. Okay, totally makes sense. Got it. Sorry.
So,
I have anybody should have known that. I'm sorry. I've been married 4 times.
So we've been like crazy busy. So I haven't even bothered with diets or anything like that. And my pal who lives down the street keeps making us jealous because he's basically been drinking every day. And I daren't because I kind of deal with nappies and sleep deprivation with a hangover. So I've just been going with the flow.
This is probably my first drink. It's probably my first drink in like since we've had my it's called Ezra. So since I've had Ezra 7 weeks, first drink.
Yeah. We got one of these. Oh, so this we have to acknowledge these tumblers. I'm sorry.
I know, I love it, dude. I love it.
Like this, so the pattern of events that led us to this call, even though we do not know the motivation for this call, but here we are. I'm enjoying it tremendously. But I discover your film, I get very invested in it. Then I hear there's a sequel, and I get very invested in that. And I put it up on the DeLorean Fanatics page that I'm watching this. And I remember Adam, you said, I swear I did not put this guy up to this review. Like, here I am raving about the film.
the reason I said that was because you do know DeLorean people don't like me. Like,
no, I didn't know that.
They don't like me. They don't. The DeLorean fanatics don't like me because A, I turned it into a time machine, and then B, I took out the motor.
Right.
Oh fuck! Like
okay,
they feel like I just ripped out
their
heart.
sins.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's why I put that up there. But thank you.
When I
Isn't the DeLorean world a bit like that though?
Yeah, I think specialists. Like I had this thing where when you said that, I thought, okay, there is a history here of your association with that page, with the film, perhaps whatever that I'm not party to. Anyway, so that was that, and then you messaged. I thought, oh my god, this is the guy. This is the guy. I feel I've gone on this emotional journey with, and here he is. And so while I have his attention for 5 minutes, I got to ask where those whiskey glasses came from, because I'm watching this thing that's not talked about, that's rolling around, and I'm like, what is that? And it's rather brilliant, because you said we even do a piece in volume 2 in the sequel about this, which you do. You said I probably reinvigorated this company. In fact, I think when I said to Daz, you got to watch this film, and he said, where are the glasses from? And I said, oh, I'm finding out, and you got the link, but these went up from $15 to $65 in the States a box.
Yeah.
And Daz, you said that's the contrast effect. Like,
yeah, it is.
Watching you go through your journey while needing a bottle handy, and then this curious thing going on, and then I think Adam, you said that the idea is that you put it on there and it's rolling around, but when you're not inebriated, you'll let that roll around. But when you see it looks like it's going over, you grab it, and when you grab it, you realise that
that's when you've had too much.
You've had too much. And I have to say, I have not had that grab yet, so I'm way drinking too much during this lockdown, because I haven't gone like that.
No, what I noticed is that while you're talking, you're just automatically doing this, right?
Oh,
you're kind of knocking around.
You go clockwise, counterclockwise.
Right. If you get too drunk, you'll notice on one of the tips, you'll shake.
Right.
Okay. And it's not that you think it's going to fall over, but your brain is relaxing to the point where it feels, and you just do a little shake.
Okay, yeah.
That shake means you're done, dude.
Yeah,
you gotta stop.
Because
so Roy, you watched Adam's 2 movies, and you left a review, and then Adam gets in contact with you.
Yes.
And your first question is, where did you get your whiskey glasses from?
I think that's perfectly acceptable.
Yes. That's. I seized the opportunity. Clearly an alcoholic, because I'm like, well, but while I got the guy, I'm very impressed that the guy is engaging with my interest in his movie. But while I'm here, yes, I would like to know where I can get my hands on a pair of those glasses.
It's funny, Don is more responsible for me drinking heavily than Francis and Lauren, to be perfectly honest. It's because he does it and looks so cool and doesn't age, and it's like, you just want to be as cool as Don Fullo. And so you're like,
you're a cool guy.
Am I right in thinking he's got his own pilot's license?
Okay, what'd you say, Daz?
I said, am I right in thinking that he's got his own pilot's license?
Oh yeah, he's got a plane. He's got a yacht. He's
That's
a weird
amazing,
man.
It's like Don Fullo.
Yeah, the reason we got along so well was because we never talked about Back to the Future. They had never had anything to do with his role. We liked golf, or we'd like playing with our drones, or we just made each other laugh a lot. He always makes me crazy. If you ever watch it, we did like 12 podcasts because that was all I could fucking handle. And he has this way about not wanting to take a side. And he wants to be proper and make sure Mayor Golden.
Yeah,
it makes me fucking crazy because when the camera isn't on, he's not like that at all. Like when we're on the phone, he says all sorts of shit that make me laugh and I think is awesome. And then that motherfucker will get on the goddamn camera and I'm like, remember that thing we were talking about? And he's like, nope. And I'm like, oh, come on, dude. What are you doing? What are you doing?
But in the film,
and he knows it makes me crazy. He knows it makes me crazy, so he does it more. And then there's this funny dynamic because it's like somebody pointing here and you're going like this, and he hits you every fucking time, and it makes me crazy.
But he's the great in your films. He's the great foil in those films, the protagonist, being yourself, needs needs his Tom Arnold from True Lies. He needs his sturdy mate, and he's that. He's like the guy. If he's turning on for camera slightly, okay, but he's the guy going, okay, dude, like, drink that, like.
Well, and what
what
happened, and the reason any of that bar stuff even happened was, I'm trying to edit the film, assuming a voiceover, right? Like, I'm going to take people on this journey, and the voiceovers sounded manipulative, right? Yeah. Like, I'm already having to give information about my brother, right? That was bad. And it's coming from me. Well, it can't come from me because I'm the guy who looks good. If you look, so I finally called Don. And I said, dude, I can't make this movie. How about we sit at the bar and just tell the story? And then I'll try to intersperse it. And he went, all right. So we really just sat at the bar, drank. I had some bullet points. And then what ended up happening was it took the pressure off me. It didn't look as manipulative when Don asked the question and I answered it.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Yeah. If I had just answered the question without him saying it, it would have looked like I was answering what I wanted to answer. You know? So it was a very effective plot device.
Very effective.
Whew. Massively.
Sorry. Dad's and I have seen this film, but Adam hasn't seen this film, and I'm kind of almost jealous that not only, Adam, you're in for this wild ride, Gradwell, but also the benefit of having this conversation with yourself and then going back and watching the films and applying all of the context that we've just been talking about would be quite an experience.
I think the craziest thing, after you get past 1 and 2, right? You've seen the first 2. If you watch 1 again, knowing what you know in 2, it plays completely different. Because you're angry immediately. Suddenly everything Kenny says, you're like, man, I know what this motherfucker's gonna do. Yeah. Is he lying here? Is he lying here? What? Because you don't know what's true after you end up. So it's my takeaway is that he was just overwhelmed and couldn't admit it. It's just a character flaw. Like, that's just, some people have that problem. It's never their fault. Wasn't me. Yep. And that's just that's their go-to baseline.
Can't apologize.
So as long as nothing. What's that?
Sorry, I keep talking across you. Sorry. Some people can't apologize. They have a hang-up about apologizing. Whether they see it as a weakness, like if I say sorry, then I'm showing that I have a vulnerability. Well, show the vulnerability then,
Well, yeah, admitting any fault, especially as a car mechanic, I think maybe you're pretty much, it's ingrained in you. You don't ever say you fucked something up because there's a lawsuit waiting. I mean, you fuck up somebody's car and they get in an accident. Oh, you're in trouble. So you have to just be ready to be like, it wasn't me. Wasn't me. I mean, and I accept that, except for the fact I'm your brother and you know it was you. Like, come on, dude. Like, you know it was you.
I couldn't get my head around the amount of times he said, I just use this cheap part from China and stuff like that. It was like, how many times? That must be like 10 times now he said that.
Yeah, I was like, come on, man. Like, I was trying so hard to make him, again, I think he did what a lot of people do, which is, I can do that. It'll be no problem. And then when it was a problem, ran. Straight up cut and run, dog. Like, unreachable, ran. Handed me a lemon. All right, go ahead, try to drag race this. Like, that's a horrible position to put somebody in. And it's funny because I'm in a group on Facebook called the LS Swaps, DeLorean LS Swaps. So there's always these people that come in going, hey, I got this DeLorean. I was thinking of putting a new engine in it. How do I do it? And everybody's like, oh, God, this fucking guy. Because nobody really realizes how badly designed the DeLoreans are and how difficult it is to reintegrate shit because there's just constant design flaws in it. It's just not a good design for a car. It looks awesome, but it's not.
Of course.
No.
Yeah. That repo guy that turned up with, and he just wanted to like rope it, made me laugh. I was like, yeah, I've just got my car, put the rope up, take it back. Because I work for a breakdown recovery company myself. So it's kind of like, you've got like a specialist car with all these mods on it. He just turns up in his car. You just think,
a Volvo.
Well, you want a low loader to start off with.
Right. dude. And that's the other. That part pissed me off because I wish you could have seen what happened in that ride. It was an hour and 10 minutes long of starting, stopping, and I'm sitting there. Like, there's a point where your brain checks out when it's too much stress, right? Yep. Like, it was just like, this was stupid. I should have just paid for the tow. Like, I should have just, it'd have been a couple $100. It would have been better than this. But yeah, I couldn't document it because I was driving at the same time. But that guy, Raphael the Repo Man, dude, think about the saints that I met on this journey.
Like, the guy.
These great people. Oh,
yeah.
I love the man. I still text
the driver who did the first runs at the track, who then helps you out. Great. That's the heartwarming moment. That's what you were hoping to achieve with your brother, but you achieved it with these guys. And actually, when you watch that, as a viewer, you're kind of going, "Oh, that's great." That guy calmly on the phone, walking you through complex wires that mean all the difference. And all
he couldn't see.
You can see,
right? Like, that's what people like. I've had to do this. Like, I always give people help with computers because I was like a hackerish type of guy, right? So I was always helping my dad or somebody. And you have to actually literally memorize programs and stuff several layers and several clicks deep that you can't see. So you're like, okay, you hit the next, and then you go down bottom left, hit settings, go to So for him to have to do that on a car. Yet it's a car that's this monster, Frankenstein of a car. He was the sweetest guy, and I'm bummed that as the business kind of disintegrates, there will be less and less reason to have Ray around because what a guy! Like, he was just a cool, and the dude from Australia, Mikey's amazing.
Yeah, he seemed like a nice guy.
I would just, it was there's several wonderful memories that could not have happened had it not turned out the way it did, So that is cool. But at the end of the day, my dad's still my dad, my brother's still my brother, and that never goes away. Yeah. And fuck. Yeah. But oh well. Wow. I'm glad he liked it though. That's cool. It's very bizarre talking to people on other sides of the planet that really catch it and go, oh, this is different than what I've normally seen.
Well, when you said earlier, like, what are we doing here? Is this an interview? Whatever. It was hey, this guy's receptive to spending an hour on a call, and I find this still fascinating, and here you are. So I'm very grateful that you're spending the time. Thank you.
Yeah, same.
I think half the entertainment we watch now is that people are amazed anybody's receptive at anything, but they don't realize what the fuck else are we doing, man? Like, what else am I gonna do?
I found you on Facebook, and I'd seen that Roy was like a mutual friend, and I watched the first one. I was like, I need to send this guy a message, just like thanks for documenting it and stuff like that. And then I didn't want you to think I was weird for like adding you as a friend, even though I don't even know you. But it was nice that you got back to people and stuff like that, and like you seem genuinely grateful for all the feedback you get from it, which is really nice to see. And you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people are like, yeah, take it in my stride and don't reply back. But it's nice of you to go to the effort to reply back and do things like this.
When you release something that personal, it is different. In defense of everybody who has been an actor in a movie that they just played a role, and they do get kind of tired of constantly answering those kind of questions. Yeah. The reason this is different is because I literally released my soul. Like, if you've watched those two movies, you know me. You know everything about me. And so there's anybody who takes the time to respond to me, I know what they've been through. I feel connected to you immediately, because there's just a certain type of person that clicks, and we're instant friends. Like, that's just how I feel about it, because if it connected with you, that means you'd be somebody I would probably be a friend with. Whereas if you saw something I did where I was acting like somebody else, there is a disconnect. There is kind of a, thank you, I'm so glad you like my performance. That's not me at all. You have no idea who I am. Yeah. I don't really know what else to say to you other than thank you and please leave me alone.
Glad you liked it. Yeah.
Right? Like, it sounds shitty, but you don't know Don from Mayor Goldie Wilson. Trust me. Like, you don't know any of those actors from those moments. Yeah. So there is always this wall where they're like, oh God, another fan that is thinks they know me. They don't know me. But honestly, it's part of the reason I always wanted to do shit with Don. Was I was like, Don, there's a whole other side of you that I would think before you die, you would like documented. Like, you know what I mean?
Reveal the real Don Fuller to the world.
Yeah, like that's what I think I love the most about. We did 12 podcasts together.
Yeah.
Because I just couldn't get him to fucking show up on time. And so, but if you watch him, you see us, you see who he's like, you know, and it's a nice, I'm very glad that we got to at least capture some of that stuff because goodness gracious, he's so well put together. Right. Always looks perfect. Always says the right shit. Like, man, you'd make me crazy. Stop doing that. Can you be dirty ever? Was that?
He'd be a good mayor, wouldn't he? For those reasons, he'd make a good mayor.
He would be. He'd be a perfect mayor.
Yeah. When I met him in London, like I didn't really, I mean, I fanboyed a bit. I was kind of like, oh, this is dumb full of.
Right.
But he just seemed really chilled out. If anything, like he was just like, I was like, would you mind signing this for me? And he was like, yeah, of course, man. I was like, can I get a picture? He was like, yeah, not a problem. I was like, and that was kind of it. But I mean, like to me, that was like the world. But to him, he just seemed like a really chilled out guy.
Very much.
Is that what he's like?
He has zero. He has zero ego in what he did, because he has done so many other things. And I think that's what's nice about him. Is that he was the voice of Michael Jackson in the Jackson 5 cartoon. So from the time he was 12, right?
Wow. Okay.
He has been in this industry, doing voiceover work, all sorts of stuff. So he's just kind of enjoying the adventure that is happening to do a week of work on a movie that happened to end up being the most epic fucking movie. Like that you really have no control over that when you do any of that shit. You hope, right? But especially as an actor, fuck man, you're just trying to do the best you can do. Yeah. And I hate saying this to him in person, but he nails that fucking role, man.
Oh, yeah.
The earnestness of Goldie Wilson, that he looked like a kid who you thought, and the smile and the I mean, he just nails it. Yeah. Nails it.
Yeah.
I'd love to see the footage of him working with Eric Stoltz.
He would love to see the footage with him. He's never seen it. No one's ever seen it. He's like, he goes, I can't remember one fucking second that I did. He says, I don't remember any of it.
Wow.
Yeah. He goes, and he said it was crazy. He goes, because we did several weeks with Stoltz, and then when Michael J. Fox came in, it was like one day. Like they had to like knock some shit out really quick. So, but he just goes, I don't remember it, and it's not because Stoltz is a bad actor. He's a great actor. It's just miscast. I mean, that's the perfect example of miscasting, and it doesn't matter if you're a good actor or a bad actor. If the part isn't for you, the part isn't for you, and there's nothing you can do. Eric Stoltz is awesome, but he wasn't Michael J. Fox or Marty McFly. Like, he just wasn't, you know? And yeah, that's the thing about that movie is, God, there's nobody else who could have played some of those roles. And the people are so, I mean, from Crispin Glover to Tom Wilson, like just those two characters are so good.
Yeah.
Like, and so weird and just so different. Wow. Yeah.
It's funny because I watched Back in Time recently, and Bob Gale even says on it that he's going to release it one day. Yeah. But obviously he still hasn't, and that was like 5 years ago. So I wonder if he'll release it for the 4K release.
I think it would make a great documentary. I think that would be what I would want. I would want the footage. I would want to interview. I would want to interview Stoltz, and I would want to talk about how unbelievably rare that is. To
project for 2021 for you.
Yeah, no, I would love to do that. I would love to do that more than anything, because I've always thought there's a way to approach the footage. If you just fucking release the movie without that, Stoltz would be like, go fuck yourself. Why would I ever want that to like, that would be really mean to him, you know, because it's clearly not going to be as good. So what are you doing? However, if you did a documentary, included all the footage, showed a whole bunch of the scenes, but then talked to the people involved, and then talked to, you know, Christopher Lloyd did a great interview about how awful it was when they came to the cast and crew and told them what had happened. Like Christopher Lloyd just said, he goes, I was heartbroken. Like, oh my God, how awful that must be for Eric to have done so much. And then this happens, and we're all standing here looking at each other. And now this Michael J. Fox is going to come in, and we got to do it over. And you don't know if it's gotta be such an unsettling feeling to have had that happen. That's what's fascinating to me about the whole Eric Stoltz footage. I think just releasing the movie the way it was, that's bullshit. That just seems mean-spirited. A documentary would be way better. But I'm a bit biased about shit like that.
but there was one, like you said, it's very rare, and that's exactly the thing. When you start reading this really famous film, like I had Michael Costorian's early 90s book on the making of the trilogy, and there was maybe like a page of a couple of images of Eric Stoltz way back then, and you go, well, there's another actor, and that kind of lingers in there a little longer. And as you become an adult and you read more about it, and you go, wow, they shot like two-thirds of the movie with this guy. There's definitely a story there because it became such a phenomenon. And I can't recall another instance apart from maybe, they did a prequel to The Exorcist, and they did two versions. And Paul Schrader, the guy who wrote Taxi Driver, did one version, and they recast it, and then they shot it all again for another $40 million with Rennie Harlin, the guy who made like Die Hard 2, with the same cast playing the same roles, but a different take on it because they thought he's going way too cerebral here. We need a blockbuster director here. And there are two versions of that film that they put out over time. That's probably one other instance that I can recall of something happening on that kind of scale. But because that was not a hit, it hasn't passed into the kind of folklore that Eric Stoltz in Back to the Future has.
I think the other reason it's interesting is because as someone who has acted or done things in that nature, you're always wondering the choices you make as an actor, what you're going to say, what you're going to do, how subtle changes affect the entire chemistry of a line or a scene or the whole movie for that point. And I can almost imagine knowing all the stuff that Stoltz did, right? Like I've seen all his 80s movies. Like I can see him doing all those lines. What made Michael J. Fox so good were these pauses of comedy. There's this he has the weirdest cadence to the way he acts. So does Christopher Lloyd, so does Crispin Glover, so does Tom Wilson. They're different than any other actors. And that's why that's such a magic movie, is because they were all thrown together, and it's the best, I would argue the best any of them have ever been and will ever be.
Yeah.
Because they hit the right cadences at the same, Jesus Christ, Christopher Lloyd, some of his scenes, if you read the script, you're like, I don't remember this. And then you watch the movie, and the reason you don't remember it is because his eyes did like 95 different things in between two words that weren't written like that. And you're like, holy shit. If I was in his shoes, I'd have just said the fucking line. They were so good at just encapsulating.
Yes.
You made a time machine out of a DeLorean. You made a time machine out of a DeLorean? Like, I can say that 1,000 different ways. I never would have said it the way Michael J. Fox did.
Yeah.
There's this pause. There's this literal look where he's like, it's the acting when you're not talking that make that movie just amazing. And again, I hate to fucking give Don any more props, but there are a million actors that would have done that bit.
Yeah.
Would have been a throwaway bit. Would have been a complete throwaway bit. Yeah. His teeth, his smile, his pauses, where like it made you love him immediately. Yeah, and you got so excited for him. You're like, oh, that guy's going to be mayor. Like you actually feel it. I can think of 1,000 actors who were probably better than Don, right? But wouldn't have nailed it like that. Yeah. And that's what makes magic. It's these random moments you could not have scripted. And I can see Eric Stoltz just dropping in there and destroying all of the chemistry by no fault of his own. Yeah. And I bet he's not real up for doing a fucking interview about it. Right. But I think it would help. I think it would help him
cathartically, therapeutically.
He would look so magnanimous, right? Like it would be such an amazing thing for him to face this head on. Talk about it and get to a real human place with how awful it must have fucking felt to have been replaced for a movie that got that huge. Oh God. Of all the things I've been through in my career, it's gotta be the worst, dude.
Like that Tom Selleck Tom Selleck was going to be Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones.
You know, but he had Magnum, and I saw an interview with him a few years ago. He kind of said, talk about being magnanimous about it. He kind of said, well, you know, I had, you know, Spielberg wrote me this lovely note, and I had to kind of go, well, like, and I had a great career otherwise, and all the rest of it. And he just kind of said at the end of this thing, you know, Spielberg said, I'll get you a role in something. He said, I'm still waiting for that script, Stephen. And it was done in a kind of humorous way. And you're watching going, oh, I have just really warmed to this guy in the way that he's as, you know, understandably gutted as any of us would have been with what happened. But by the same token, he's being kind of gracious about it. And, you know, it is what it is.
That's actually.
I couldn't believe on that Reunited Apart that came out on Monday, but John Candy was supposed to play Rick Moranis' part.
Right.
I was like, that was. Wow. Can you imagine John Candy playing that role?
Well, it would have been a different role. Like he just would have played it completely differently.
If you watch the DVD of Ghostbusters, it's got John Candy storyboarded as Lewis.
On Reunited Apart, he wanted to play it as a German.
Yeah, with like two dogs or something.
He was going to be Lewis Tully, wasn't he? And he wanted to play it as a German for some reason.
Is that right?
The Tom Selleck Indiana Jones thing is a perfect example of what I'm talking about, which is he would have been fine at Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
he would have. You can see it. You saw the screen test, right? It's on one of the documentaries that he did. But he wouldn't have been Indiana Jones. And again, it's not bad acting. It's not that they're not good at it. There is a cadence and a way Harrison delivers his lines in almost everything he does, kind of the same. But it's so lovable, right? He can just smirk. He knows he's got such good self-awareness that he is doing shit that isn't in the script, and it's just it makes it magic. And again, I've had this argument with so many other people saying, oh, it'd be awful or this would be that. I'm like, that's not true. Tom Selleck is a great actor. He had an amazing career. Like he would have been like what's his name in Romancing the Stone. Indiana Jones would have been Romancing the Stone.
Yeah.
It would have just been the same old adventure movie with a good-looking leading man, and you know, Harrison has this thing to him that adds a bite. And you don't really like him, but you like that you don't like him. James Gandolfini has it. The Sopranos. He's got this weird thing with him. Anybody else plays it, it's just some fucking Goomba doing. But he's got this weird thing, and it's almost unattainable to explain it. And if you get the perfect role and the perfect person, it's awesome. I think every good actor has a perfect role that would make them a superstar. Every single one. You just got to find the right stuff and go.
Well, they always said about Harrison Ford, like the idea is like Han Solo in Star Wars is like the ultimate cynic. Han Solo in Star Wars is Humphrey Bogart, in the Sierra Madre or whatever. He's a cynic, right? He's the guy. Later years ago on TV, like we were watching Lost again, and it's Sawyer. It's the guy that's quite cool, but he's kind of selfish. And it's the selfish element that makes him a bit relatable. And what they did with Indiana Jones is they threw it all into one going, right, he's the main guy now. And he's kind of selfish in a certain regard. He's not doing it for the glory of the greater good. He's doing it for his own personal gain, but always a more compelling hero than the virtuous guy.
Yeah, and he plays, it's weird because he's very good looking. We don't know that because his personality is so much brighter than his looks, but it's funny, the takeaways, if you just like parse out every word and how he says it and so forth, the cutaways still show him looking like Harrison Ford, and I think that's very helpful too. Like Tom Selleck is a good looking man too, but he doesn't have that little snark, that there's that little weird hard to define thing. But listen, if Harrison Ford had that but wasn't good looking, he wouldn't work either. Like it just wouldn't fucking work. He needs to be the guy that every guy wants to be. That's a really fucking hard trait. You know what I mean? That's just a really difficult trait.
I was interviewing Robert McNaughton from E.T.
Right.
He was the big brother in E.T. And
I'm friends with him on Facebook. I keep trying to get him to come out to GolfCon.
And I was interviewing him, and he told me that because Harrison Ford's girlfriend at the time, she wrote E.T.
Melissa Matheson.
Yeah. And they went round, Robert McNaughton and other members of the cast went round to Harrison Ford's house to do a script read. And I said to Robert, I says, was Harrison Ford there? And he said, oh yeah. He says, we were sitting in the living room and we were reading the script, and Harrison Ford came downstairs wrapped in a towel. He'd just been in the shower. And he's walking down the stairs with just a towel wrapped around him. And he said, what a bloke. What a fine looking bloke.
Which would have been in his kind of prime, like, what is in his like mid-30s or something like.
Yeah.
He was still a Blade Runner at the time, actually.
Yeah. He's my favorite film star. Like, he's a movie star. Like, for me, it's like De Niro and Pacino, the great film actors. Harrison Ford is the movie star of my time, which is probably the case for you guys, because you look at it and you go, wow, he had everything. Because what he threw into all in one go in Indiana Jones was he became relatable because he gets the crap beaten out of him every time. So you're watching the hero suffer, and then you empathize, and then you go, right, okay. And he's enjoying it. Wonderful. Like, when he returned to his 3 key roles, okay, people didn't like The Crystal Skull, I would still say he was great in it. He was great. He brought what he brings to it, to that. I thought, and I enjoyed it on that level at the very least. And then, of course, Blade Runner and in Star Wars, for me, like Star Wars, of all, what is it now? There were 3 films, there's something like 8 movies that have been made since Return of the Jedi came out through the prequels and the Disney films. For me, the most Star Wars moments of the last 8 Star Wars films were the 75 minutes that Harrison Ford was on screen in Force Awakens. You go, it feels like the series again. And the fact that he's now probably getting $60 million, but putting his face to it, actually inhabiting the role, brought the whole thing back to life for me,
Yeah, to me, in The Force Awakens, that's not how the Force works. That's fine. That was Star Wars. Yeah. Like, we were in Star Wars for that second.
Back in there,
And as much as I like the new characters, I did think they did a disservice to the cast. I mean, fuck, you got them all there. Why wouldn't at least the first one be pretty heavy on you? Like, really? You're not going to see a scene with Han and Luke? Come on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I come from the same place.
I'm not gonna bash on Last Jedi, but it's just about missed opportunities. Like, I get why you did this. I understand but at the end of the day, it's still you still had the opportunity to fucking like jerk off on your screenwriting. Like, I just, as a writer, I would have loved to just been able to go, oh fuck, ooh, we got Leah.
That's how this happened.
Like, oh my god, how much fun! It's like writing a fan film, and you had the chance to do it, and you were like, yeah, let's not do that.
And the best people that did that with Disney was in Rogue One. And Rogue One came from John Knoll, the visual effects supervisor from The Phantom Menace, and he went, but they came to me with, what would you do if you were making a Star Wars film? If you watched the Blu-ray extras, and he said, I would do the story where they got the plans for the Death Star, and you watch it, you go, it's the Magnificent Seven. If Star Wars was supposed to be the hidden fortress, the Kurosawa movie writ large as a sci-fi,
Magnificent Seven. Right.
Rogue One is the other big, the big samurai movie, and it's all in there. You go watch it, you go.
I can remember watching Force Awakens at midnight, the night it came out, and I was sitting watching it, and I kept saying, I think it was my wife, I kept saying, where's Luke? When's Luke coming in?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he was in it for like 3 seconds at the end.
Yeah.
I was like,
the ultimate setup, right there.
And they sold it on that because the opening crawl goes Luke Skywalker in Spanish, and it was so good to see that name on the screen again that you were excited to see him, and you didn't for about 3 years.
I wanted them to do flashback scenes to fill in the holes like Godfather 2. Like, in my head, I was like, clearly they're going to have flashback scenes. Yeah. Like, with today's technology, you know how fucking easy it would have been to have like some shit that happened after Return of the Jedi. Let's fucking do it. We got the voices. We got everything,
Yeah, maybe we still will, Like, I think that the original couple of Disney ones were an answer to, like, The Force Awakens followed by Rogue One with Disney's answer to how disappointed people were with the prequels. So maybe they go back into the typewriter and go, right, now we're going to de-age these guys and we'll give them what they didn't get with...
Well, listen, with deepfake, the first thing they got to do with deepfake technology is stop letting the old people act. Like, the shit they did with De Niro in The Irishman was stupid. It looked like an 80-year-old trying to beat the shit out of somebody who was 30. It looked stupid. All you need is the voice, man. Like, you just need the voices.
That's right.
So
That's right.
I would hope they would take Hamill and Harrison and totally give me a movie. You know, with their fucking face. I've seen deep fakes that I would swear to you. You know, and as long as the voices are there, you could do anything. So I'm hoping they start realizing that if they're going to do it, those are the stories I want to know. I want to know what happened in those 30 or however many.
There's a good little documentary. I don't know if it's available on YouTube, but a good few years ago, there's a guy called Justin Lee Collins over here who did a documentary called Bring Back Star Wars. And he doesn't get Mark Hamill or Harrison Ford on it, but he gets everyone else on it. And it's a really good insight because like Kenny Baker, the guy who plays R2-D2, and the guy who plays C-3PO, they absolutely hated each other. Absolutely hated each other. Like, he tries to get them up for a reunion at the end, and like they both, Kenny Baker, the guy who plays R2-D2, says, "I'm not going if he's going. Like, I won't be in the same room as him or anything." Like, I mean, they absolutely hate each other. They hate each other on set. They just hate each other afterwards. It's like pretty bizarre, but it might be on YouTube.
That should be.
I'll totally check that out.
That should be a
there
film.
Goes the rest of my fucking day.
Well, that should be a film. That should be David Tennant playing Anthony Daniels, and a miniaturized Michael Sheen playing Kenny Baker, and the horrible, loathing thing that went on between those two guys. That's a film. That's a film idea.
Well, he just flies to LA and camps out outside Carrie Fisher's house, and then just like when like her assistant comes to put the trash out, he just goes like, "Oh, can we just have a quick word with Carrie Fisher? I'm trying to do this show called Bring Back Star Wars." And she like lets him in and has a chat with Carrie Fisher, and she starts talking about the affair she had with Harrison Ford and stuff like that. It's cool. It's really good, actually.
You would be surprised out here. People ask me, I did an interview show out here, and had very little trouble getting pretty big names to come out. Because I said, "Hey, I built a mini golf course and a bar in my backyard, and doing this charity event. Hey, you want to try?" And like Norm from Cheers came out, people from Parks and Rec. Like, I mean, it was awesome. And I think, to the if you have a good idea and you just fucking do it, people respond. I mean, some people aren't, but I mean, I think so little from inaction. So much happens, so much doesn't happen because of inaction. And you would be surprised. Yeah, how the hell did you do that with your camera and you were just fucking recorded? I'm like, I just did it. Right. And I was willing to accept the responsibility if I got caught. I filmed on the last season of The Sopranos. I got to be in the bar scene, a bar scene on the last fucking season, and I fucking recorded it, and I got caught by Gandolfini. And oh, dude, I can't. I don't even have. I need some alcohol in me to tell you the story. I'll link you guys to me telling you. It was the fucking most frightening thing that's ever happened. But everyone's like, "Why would you do that?" And I said, "I was willing to go to jail. I'm like, dude, I gotta try. What's the worst that's gonna fucking happen?" And I think so many people go, "Oh no, maybe they'll think badly of me." And even Jordan, I got his autograph on my jersey, and he said, "You could lose your stripes for this." And as a kid, I was only like 19 when this happened. I was heartbroken that my hero thought poorly of me for using my media pass to get an autograph. And I remember just looking at him and feeling bad for about 3 seconds. and then I remembered I basically just had a beer with Babe Ruth. And when I'm 90, I'm going to tell this story. Yeah. And sorry you don't like me, Michael. But fuck, I had to do it. Yeah. So I do think we so worry about what people might think, and this, dude, do it. Just fucking do it.
One of my favorite moments. There are two. One is when in your second film when you kind of get it. Sorry, spoiler alert. But you get your engine going, and you're like literally and metaphorically. But the other one is when you go to the town square down in Universal, and you and Don sneak into the clock tower And they're like, guys, these, well, as you've seen this, they're like 5 years old. They're like giggling on a night camera going, and I think he's the mayor of Hill Valley and he's acting like, this is, we're being a bit risque. And I thought, there's a we're going to break the rules here, guys, element that's very endearing in that.
The thing that's crazy is that, like, I was getting him out of his comfort zone because he doesn't want to shake anything up.
Right.
Because he's the fucking mayor.
Okay,
and I'm like, I have no business being here anyway, so I don't give a fuck. Like, so then I'm pulling him on all this shit, and it was very fun. We were very, very inebriated as well.
Okay.
I mean, he's literally holding the whiskey as he's going up the fucking steps. No, that was very fun. I hid a golf ball. There's a GolfCon golf ball at the clock tower. It's been there for 7 years. Wow. No, not 7. Like 5 years. 5 years now. And we were going up to find it. And it's funny, I have another cut of Fastest DeLorean where I show the ball, and then I'm like, man, then somebody's going to go up and take it.
Okay,
fuck that.
Okay.
It's more fun to go up every couple years and just like go see if it's still there and go, yep, it's still there, and then go from there.
That's great.
It's funny because like you two, it's like two little kids, like universal security are just like, just down there, we're trying to hide.
You aren't supposed to go up there. Like, it's not safe to go up there.
Yeah.
There's nothing about it that is okay.
Yeah. I got to go there a few years ago. I've been there twice, and in 2007 with friends we went on the tour, and then again in 2011. In 2007 there was a film on there, Jennifer Aniston film. We couldn't get close, and I was like, that's the reason I'm here, And
that was the TV show. She was the Ghost Whisperer or whatever.
Oh, maybe, maybe it was that.
Her show was on there. Yeah, she was there. That's why there was a cathedral or a gazebo in the middle of Hill Valley for the longest time. It's gone now. It's gone. It's all cleared.
Well, we did this thing where 4 years later, 2011, we go back and we do the VIP tour, which is expensive. And I say to the guy, we're going to see the clock tower. And he went, there's a shoot on there. And I said, man, I've been here twice. I've grown up with this since I got to see this thing. And he did me a like in your film when you had that great Back to the Future fan, the guy who messed up his wife's birthday. So you guys went in like that. This guy did me a solid. He said, right, we'll do a favor. They just wrapped. And it was very fleeting, but we did. They went off the tour and they took us down there, and we were just like for a few minutes had a look. And I thought, that's a great mark of somebody prepared to do that. Equally, being a fan of Psycho, I jumped off the cart and got a shot.
Yeah.
Hotel, and I got in terrible trouble for that. But it's like I can't get, I'm a film geek. I can't get this close to that and not have a photo.
The other thing to tell all these everybody as far as how you do this shit. Yeah. What are they really gonna do to you?
Yeah.
Like, are they really gonna? If you get in there, are they gonna kick you out? Really? Are you gonna start like you can just play stupid and I just think people think the worst all the time. And fuck it. It's just these are just people like you and me trying to work. They don't really give a fuck. They're just they don't want to lose their job. So as long as you don't say anything to their boss, they don't give a fuck.
We had a thing up in Manchester for the Back to the Future musical. The next day I walked around Manchester with my wife. And, we have an old institution. It's the longest running TV soap opera called Coronation Street. And it used to be filmed right in the center of Manchester. And we filmed in the old studios, the site. And, my mum's a big fan. So I go up to the gate and I talk to the guy and I take some pictures of the old archway and the bits were in the opening titles. And this guy had this mentality, which is the job's worth. He said, you're not allowed to do that. And I said, why? He said, it's private property. I said, I know, but I'm on the right side of the gate. You haven't got signs. I could take a shot of that building. That's private property, but no one's,
right. Yeah.
And I said, you have an opportunity here. And I'm telling the story now to a guy in California and yourselves, up in Scotland and Manchester. I said, it's like, I can come away saying good things about your conduct,
right?
Who are just quite harmless, but a bit obsessed with something. Or I can say the opposite, and it's up to you. But you're looking at the guy going, this isn't even, he's like, I'm off in an hour. He's a problem. That's the mentality, sadly.
Yeah.
Fight somebody for a photograph of Coronation Street.
What's that?
You were willing to fight somebody for a photograph of Coronation Street.
I get very pedantic. I don't have a problem with people in authority. It's when people have a little bit of authority and they lord it over me so much. And then I go...
It's ego. It's all ego.
It's about ego, yeah. I got the ego at that point. Yeah, I got the ego,
Like,
and I said, I know you're trying to get in front of the camera, but I am going to just crop you out, and I am going to keep going. And I got a bit pedantic about that.
I think
have any of you seen the Spielberg documentary on HBO?
The 3-hour one, the really big one.
Yeah. Like when he goes on about basically, he started off his office directing.
Right. He just
He'd go on the Universal tour, and when he went for a toilet break, he'd get off the cart, stay in the toilets while the cart went away, and then he'd just go to some random building on the Universal backlot and turn it into his office.
Brilliant. Yeah, he had a phone set up.
He didn't give a shit either.
Yeah, he got to know the guard. I think he got to know the security guard's name. So he'd go, "Hey, Dave, morning." And just come
knowing what you're doing is half the battle.
What's that?
Yeah, absolutely. Knowing what you're doing, acting like you know what you're doing. I mean, you just, that's always been how you get through shit. Is just keep walking.
Well, there you go. I just clocked the time in your corner there, Adam, and I'm slightly conscious we've been talking for hours, and I don't want to take up everybody's time. I could keep going, but I'm slightly aware, we had no.
If you have any other questions, let me know. But, I feel bad for Adam, who has no fucking idea. Who is this guy? Why? What? I don't know his research.
But then he's going to watch the films and he's going to go, oh, and when he mentioned about a brother, and then the bar.
That's the bar, dude.
Just going to go
I have a question, and I don't know how you feel about it, Adam. Yeah. But
you can't possibly.
Since the films came out, have you met up with Kenny at all?
No.
The way 2 ended, that was last summer, actually, that we were putting 2 together. He was coming, everything was good, just like I say in the story, that he was coming out, and then he had some concerns, blah, 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 blah. He ended it by getting a lawyer involved and giving me a cease and desist on saying his name in conjunction with anything Fastest DeLorean. And I remember reading this letter, laughing. I called my dad, I showed it to him, and he's like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. I'm like, yeah, that's not what a cease and desist is. You can't keep me from saying your name out loud. Like I'm not allowed to lie. That's it. That's the law. You can't preemptively ask me not to lie. Yeah. You can sue me if I do lie, but you can't just say, oh, you can't say Kenny in part 2. I was like, yeah, I fucking can. What the fuck? So after that, obviously I never spoke to him again, because I was just like, dude, he's just kind of lost it, and he's just, now he feels like it's all I know is that for me personally, I had a moment, a 45-minute phone call last year where he admitted everything. He apologized. And I said, let's come out, let's have a beer together, let's work on something on the car, and let's finish this with just a happy, like, everything's cool moment. And he completely agreed, and that was what part 2 was going to be. Yeah. It was going to be him and me talking about part 1, getting through everything, and at least for like 2 or 3 nights, I believed that was going to happen, and it was very healing for me to even know we were in that realm. The fact that he got cold feet again and decided to just not be part of it doesn't change the fact that I did get to hear him say everything I needed to hear him say, even though he took all of it back and said it was all my fault and wrote me awful emails and it was like so bad. Yeah. I know somewhere inside his brain, he knows what he did because he did it. And I think the biggest problem with not being honest is that if you're not at least honest with your closest people, you've now created an echo chamber where they can't even give you good advice because they don't have the truth. So if he wasn't telling all of his friends and all of his, his girlfriend or whatever, the truth about what had happened, then they just keep telling you back, I'm the bad guy. Adam's the bad guy. Adam didn't, it's like, that's because you didn't tell him the truth to begin with. So when all those people go away, it's just him and me. Yep. He knows what he did. And and there's no gray area. You cannot fault me for fucking anything other than releasing the movie. Yeah. That's the one thing I can't argue with. Yeah. You know? Let me put it this way: if it was my father and not my brother,
yeah,
I would not have released the movie.
yeah,
right.
Okay.
I would never. It would have been shelved. I would have been the end of it. But I didn't really have a relationship with my brother, and I guess I was willing to lose that to tell the story.
But you did have a car that was a death trap, and there comes a point there where the flagrant disregard for your personal safety, unfortunately, comes to a point, and I can say this as a viewer of your movie, but not living in the situation, other than I have several siblings, and I'm trying to put myself in their shoes. I have not been in that situation where they've put me in that position, and that I can see being the root.
But if it was my father, who I've loved and known my whole life and would die for, I would never have released that movie. Let's say my dad said, hey, I'm going to do this for you, and he did the exact same things. No fucking way I would have released that.
Yeah.
I didn't have that with my brother. In fact, I had so little of a relationship with my brother. That was why I wanted to do the movie. I was like, oh, this is great. I get to spend time with this guy I never knew. I get to make a movie about him. Finally, I get to do a project that isn't about me, because I was so fucking sick of me. I thought I was making a movie about my brother building this car, racing this car, getting this record. I thought it was going to be completely him. So nobody was more pissed when I had to turn the camera around and take it on.
But also, when I watched the film, there was a moment, Daz, you might have had this, where when the dawn of realization is that you've been kind of screwed over and lied to about really serious stuff, I'm watching it thinking, I'm sure he said that guy was his brother earlier on. And I didn't, and I thought, and as a viewer taking that information, and you're going, maybe I got that wrong. He wouldn't be his brother. He's the guy that he's hired to do it. And then you go, oh no shit, he is, and that's happening. Yeah. And no wonder he's like that.
I just can't believe at the front, like he put up, like he's like, no, I'm not coming out to race your car, and I'm not going to get involved. It's kind of like,
it's pretty clear he had made that choice before my text, and then tried to like retrofit his reason for what I texted him. I'm like, what do you mean you're not coming out? I'm just calling you out for faking the dyno. Why the fuck are you saying you're not coming out? What the fuck? He didn't want to come out anyway. I think he was nervous about racing it.
Yeah, it's just bizarre. I'm sorry to ask a personal question, if isn't it not something?
Oh, yeah, go for it. Oh, is that it? Oh, I thought there was
no. I was just saying I'm sorry for asking the personal question.
No, my whole life's an open book. My whole fucking life is a complete open book. I don't mind that at all. It's easier for me to be honest about it than it is to hide it. Like, there's still shit. Like, I never mentioned the lawyers in the movie, because I actually have plausible deniability. The stupid fucking lawyer didn't send it certified mail. There's no proof I ever got it. Like, he fucking just sent it in the post. And I'm like, what a dumbass. He sent it twice in the post because I never responded to it. And I'm like, dude, is this like some rent-a-lawyer from a fucking Walmart? Like, right, you have to serve me, you dummy.
This is the best case I've had since the case against the never-ending story.
Right. So,
Adam, I've got a question for you, which is this one. Like, when people say, "What would you ask?" Like, Adam Bradwell does this amazing podcast, and he goes, "If I'm interviewing Dee Wallace tonight, what's the question?" And he will ask that question. So my question for you is, for me, the movie event of this lockdown is not the Tiger King. It's your story. So on that basis, there's been a lot of speculation with the Tiger King of who's playing which role. So if they were going to do a dramatized version of Fastest DeLorean, who is going to play Adam Contrast in that dramatization?
I'm an actor, man. I want to play.
Oh, okay. You played it very well. I mean,
No, honestly, oh God, I don't think the story's big enough to work as a dramatization because it's a very small story. It only works because
we're PRing it,
Right. I have no idea, honestly. The problem is it would need to be somebody younger. Every actor I know is older than me. You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't make any sense if, like, Colin Farrell. I was always compared with Colin Farrell, but he's older than me, so it wouldn't make any sense for him to play.
See that?
To play me then.
Right.
So, God, I never even fucking thought about that. And Kenny,
the other thing that occurred to me was getting on the call today. You have a brilliant moment in your second film, and these terrible sideburns that are going on. is my little tribute to you, Mister, because you had a thing where you went, while I'm going through the madness of what I'm going through, I'm not shaving this thing.
Right.
So I thought, what are we going to get today? Are we going to get the full Mel Gibson, like...
I literally just shaved, I literally shaved 2 days ago because whenever this goes over your lip and hits your tooth...
Oh, yeah, like in my tooth, yeah.
This isn't
good. Okay.
Honestly, it's been just... But my normal routine is I let it grow out when I'm overweight because it just... Right. Everybody looks at your awful beard and doesn't realize you gained 40 pounds. And then I only shave it when I'm at the appropriate weight. And that's the problem with being an actor is I know what every angle looks like.
Yeah.
Like, so I know that I have to be this weight if I'm shooting something. Otherwise, I'm really self-conscious about every fucking angle. Okay. At this weight, I let you know. So that's why you build the beard. The fire, however, changed that completely. Yeah. I was never clean ever. Like I was constantly oily, constantly working, constantly drinking. Like it was just an awful few weeks, and I looked exactly the way I felt. I mean, it's just like I say. I look in the mirror. I'm like, that guy looks exactly the way I fucking feel.
Like Jerry Seinfeld does comedians in cars, and there was a great. I forget which guest he had on there.
Patton Oswalt.
Pardon?
Patton Oswalt was a DeLorean one, if you were wondering.
I remember the DeLorean one, actually. The DeLorean lasted 20 minutes, and then they get rid of it and have to get him in another car. But in one of them, whoever was on with him, it might have been Eddie Murphy, they were talking about Trump, and, they were talking about Weinstein, and they said, if you were going to cast a guy to play the character of Weinstein, he's very well cast. You could not put a better person into that kind of role, and so I think when you had your kind of the beard kind of going on, like you were very well cast at that moment. Like the styling of that went very well with what was going on. I think in that. Yeah,
I felt, it's always tough when you look different than you feel. There's a disconnect. I don't know. Right. If you guys have ever dealt with that. Like at my best weight or looking good or with good clothes on, if you're going through depression or you're going through something, you feel like you're not in your skin.
Yes.
And there's that it just something doesn't work.
Yeah.
I don't ever want a beard like that, but during the fire, I found my hands were bleeding and everything awful was going on. I would go in and try to like wash my hands. I'd look in the mirror and I'd go, yeah, that's about right.
Yeah,
I look
it's
homeless and disheveled, and no, it worked perfectly. Yeah. The problem, however, was to do the bar scenes. I had to lose like 20 fucking pounds because I was like, oh my god, dude, I look.
But you notice it in the film. You watch it, and go, that guy's looking after himself suddenly. Like
yeah, right.
He's quite well groomed.
Not that I was.
He must be okay now because
there's a huge difference. Yeah.
That's why I mentioned it. I guess
Right.
Well, listen, I
just asked, by the way, has anyone got the power to screenshot a picture of us all on their laptop?
I mean, it's going to all be video, so you can screen capture whatever you find.
Yeah, I got it recording. It still says recording, and when I went offline, it did a file. So I'm going to gauge that.
I got a long thing here. So when you get all the stuff from Zoom, you actually can zoom in on each frame whenever you want.
Okay.
Cool.
Is that true? Is that what you get, or do you just get what do you get? Like you were saying that you were going to be able to go in later and pick who gets big or small, or.
Oh no, I may have misexplained that, which I do. Oh, Dad was gone.
Daz has had a few to drink, dude.
I just took a screenshot. No, I'm good.
He's like, hey man.
He's out to his glass.
I'm not out of a glass. I'm like.
I'm definitely drunk. You can tell I'm getting crimson.